Welcome everyone. Today we continue our discussion on tips for starting a new business. And so today we are deviating or moving on to the topic that many of us are really interested in to start with, which is how do we now source funding for, that new business? Because many of us, we have ideas, but how to get the funding, to get the ideas off the ground is, a major challenge. Okay, let's talk about funding. Where do we start? And I'll start with the most obvious one. And many people may not like to hear this one, but we have to talk about it. Own savings. And then some people say, how can I save? I don't have money. But I can tell you from experience, anyone can save. I know about high school kids that save from their pocket money, and when they close school, they come home and bearing gifts for the family. We also, when we get gifts or cash gifts from relatives, we are able to save a little bit and tithe at the church. So if we are able to do that, it is actually possible to save even when you don't have a job from the gifts that you receive right, left, and center. I think the big challenge we all face is that we are more of spenders than savers. Yet if you really critique this whole question of how do you build wealth, it has to have a foundation of savings. And savings is important one because one, it is less expensive for you. You don't have to pay anyone interest. In actual fact, when you have your own savings, you can get some return on it or some interest on it. You also do not have to go through a long process. As we will discuss the other options, you will realize that, one, it's expensive. Number two, there are processes that you have to follow. So savings is cheap, savings is easier. But it's also giving you peace of mind. If, for whatever reason business doesn't do very well, you don't have to worry about anyone coming after you. And so we have to learn to save. Put away a little, for a rainy day. And once we know that we want to go into business, it doesn't matter how much it is. We put away a little, at a time. And the last important reason why you must put in your own savings, any investor, whether it's a bank, whether it's, a family member, whether it's a friend, the first question they would like to, ask you is how much of your own money have you put in that business? Because if you have invested your own money, it is actually evidence that, you are able to care for that business because your money is in it. How are you going to care for other people's money if you can't care for your own money? So it's a demonstration that, I am really committed to the idea, and so because my money is in there, I'm going to take care of it, so I'm also going to take care of your own money. So it's very important to actually start from saving so that you're able to make that demonstration that I am ready, I am going to care for your money because mine is already in there. And so we move on to our next point. So, other than savings, how else can we raise funding for our new business? In Africa, for example, we have very interesting ways of, saving, whether it is for business or, for any eventuality. And so, the next option would be to look at those ways in which you can save. We call them savings clubs, investment clubs. In Ghana, for example, they call them susus. In Kenya, investment or chama clubs or merry-go-rounds. So, and if you look within the community that you live, you might find a small, investment club of that sort, where you can be able to, put in savings a little at a time over a period of time to be able to raise money for the business. And the good thing with these savings is that you will not only be able to access your savings, you will use your saving as security to be able to borrow from these clubs. And so it is a very good way to raise funding. One is that they are very easy and they are also friendly. They are not very difficult and challenging to understand. It's a very simple concept. You just need to be a good member. Make sure that you adhere to all the rules and regulations of the group. Become a good payer. Set a good record, not only for subsequent, borrowing from the same group, but also, if you are to approach a different type of funder, you can use that as a stepping stone to show, your good record in your investment clubs. And I think the other good thing is they don't expect you to save for a long period before you get, a loan. You can save for a short time, and you are able to qualify, for a loan. You need to have a good track record though, because other members may be required to guarantee you, to vouch for you. So just make sure that, like I said again, adhering to rules and just being a good member or having a good character. So other than the investment and savings clubs, which I think are more unique to Africa, like I say, it is not a very universal concept. It is a lower version of cooperatives. So I think we can now move on to the third way of raising money for business. Okay, so we have covered two ways in which you can raise funding. The third one is cooperatives. And like I said, cooperatives is a more universal concept. Whether you are in Africa, in Europe, in the Americas, the concept is the same. Cooperatives, is a concept that is based on a common bond. People who do a similar thing, it could be that we work in the same place, it could be that we do business together, come together to, put in savings over time, and guarantee each other to borrow from the same savings. And so it is also, an interesting way to raise money. One, because it's easy. It is also cheap because they are lending, your own money, or they're lending members money. So it's a cheap way to raise funds. You will find that actually of all probably sources of funds, this would be one of the cheapest way to borrow a cooperative. What are the requirements? Because I think cooperatives, you can also find them anywhere. Again, you must be known by other members. I think you'll be required to save for a couple of months, probably 6 months before you borrow. And they will allow you to borrow up to 3 times, your savings. So the more you save, the more you can be able to borrow. So if you have already farmed up your business idea, start already in advance putting in the savings in preparation for borrowing after 6 or so months, or even more months. What's the other advantage of cooperatives? We have said they are easy to access, it's cheap. You need guarantors, or from within the membership. So again, like the investment clubs, you must have a good track record or adhere to the group rules. So just have a good adhere to the constitution of the group, attend meetings, make payments that are required, so that other members can be able to vote for you, to sign for you when the time comes. And we move on then from cooperatives. Okay, the other source of funding is microfinance institutions. And like the cooperatives, this is also a universal concept. These organizations, you can find them anywhere. Unlike cooperatives that are owned by members, the microfinance institutions are normally either non-governmental organizations or limited companies, but their job, they are less to do with savings. They do more credit than savings. They may require you to put in a lump sum amount of saving at the beginning, but mostly their main job is to have to really offer credit. Compared to cooperatives or investment clubs, this you can borrow as an individual. You can also borrow through a group system that is very similar to an investment club but within the organization. If you borrow as an individual, probably the rules might be a little bit more stringent than if you went through a group. Like they may require you to provide securities for the loan. They might want, a percentage of, savings up front before you borrow. Through a group system, it will operate exactly or very similar in the way investment clubs operate. There is a group, there are rules that you have to follow. The members of the group will guarantee each other, which means that if one member does not pay, the rest of us will pay. And that is the way they operate. Microfinance, in terms of price, is one of the highest, and again for a good reason, that their depth of coverage is much wider than the rest of the funders. So they are covering a bigger area. They have outlets everywhere, but they are also very friendly. They are customer friendly, and they are approachable by the ordinary person. So besides the issue of pricing, I think all the other things are really, are positive. But again, if you discuss with people that are looking for funding, they might tell you it's not so much the pricing that is an issue, but it is, whether you are able to access. So I think many people that are looking for funding, sometimes they overlook, the pricing aspect, so long as you're able to access, which the microfinance institutions do very well. Okay, and we have one last one. Okay, the last one is the commercial banks, which we all know, and all of us, when we talk funding, we are actually thinking about, the commercial banks. Commercial banks, traditionally, they have not really been pro-micro. Of course, things have changed over the last few years, and therefore many of the commercial banks have gone downstream and can be able to give micro loans. But with the banks, compared to the rest of the sources, they are a little bit more formal, which means you have to go through a legal process. You have to give proper security, unlike the other sources where you either give just a current term or you used personal or business property. In this specific case, they will want a proper security or a proper collateral, which could be land, it could be a building, it could be business machines, and which are properly valued. When I talk about going through a legal system, it also has to go through a valuation process. So it is very formal. Traditionally, they are not very friendly. So you got to do your homework before you go to the bank. Because of all this, it takes a little bit longer to process a loan with a bank compared to the other funders. And so I think we have sort of covered the main sources of funding for your new business. I would just like to make some, closing remarks in terms of what to watch out for. Okay, so we have covered most of the sources where you can go for funding. Obviously, there is the obvious one that you can go to family and friends, which would be, the first one after your own savings. If your own savings is not enough, then you can, try and raise it from within the family. It's easier. No one is going to come after you should the business go down. The second one or the third one, we have talked about the investment clubs, then cooperatives, then microfinance institutions, then banks. Now, in terms of closing this discussion, the most important thing to remember, regardless of the source of funding, is to understand what are the terms and conditions, what are the fees and charges, how frequently will I be required to repay, and if I don't repay, what will happen, how will that affect me, how will that affect my family, my business. Many people rush to sign without understanding, and then a little later they get into trouble and their families get into trouble. Everyone goes into serious stress. So before you commit to anything, make sure you understand those small letters that sometimes are hidden in the agreements before you put your signature. It does not do any harm if you don't understand to get someone who understands to work with you through them. The second point to remember is building a relationship, because you might start small and find that you need more funds for expanding. If you don't have a good track record, it will be very difficult to approach these funders again. And remember, with a good track record, you will be considered a less risk customer, which means you can be able to negotiate the interest or to negotiate the terms, as it were. And up to that point, we have sort of covered where you can try and raise funding. And so best of luck to everyone, and see you in my next video. Thank you.